an Ironic Media production. Visit us at ironickmedia.com.
You're crazy, man. You're a loser. Playoffs?
It's the Marc and Lowell Show.
The Marc and who?
Starring the meteorologist who does it for the viewers.
Smoke!
Lowell Meltzer.
Can you get out of here?
And the man who rides the coattails of his friends and family. Marc Ronick.
Hey guys, there's enough with the amplifier.
And now, here they are. Radio's equivalent of a dial-up connection.
Hello, boys.
Marc and Lowell.
Welcome back to the Marc and Lowell Show. I am Marc Ronick.
The Marc and Lowell Show, not the Marc and Lowell Show.
I'm still trying. I'm still trying to get used to whether or not we're keeping the old welcome to the show thing. But hi, I'm Marc Ronick, and that's my co-host over there, Lowell Meltzer.
Hello.
And today's show is not to play while you are having breakfast, lunch, dinner, or even a good snack, because it's all about my first ever colonoscopy experience.
But we should point out it was done in a mature way, so it's not that gross. It's very scientific. We took the high road. We went highbrow. We did.
For a Marc and Lowell show especially, it was quite highbrow, I would say.
Yes, it was not, because we're 2.0 and we're turning the leaf. Yeah.
And really, this conversation's more about my experience going through it, more so than the actual procedure.
Happened. Yes,
yeah,
exactly.
Yeah. But still, I mean, some people, even that kind of talk, just knowing that it's a colonoscopy, maybe it won't be appropriate for your breakfast meal.
Yeah, that's true. Listen to it in the car on the way to the office.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
But I think you'll enjoy it. Like I said, my first ever, I was definitely a little nervous. So lots to talk about, because Lowell, you hadn't had one yet, right?
Yes, I'm in the process of making an appointment, yes.
So this was me kind of sharing my experience as a first-timer to a first-timer-to-be. Stick around. I think you will enjoy it.
Resistance is futile. It's the Marc and Lowell Show.
So do you want to hear about my colonoscopy?
I do. The prep, I know you sent me some good audio that we won't, that now that we're higher brow, you will not play on the show.
Yeah, so a year ago, we talked about that I was scheduling my first colonoscopy, and I ended up not, because it was still like smack in the middle of the pandemic with no vaccine, no idea if the vaccine's coming, nothing.
Right.
And things were not looking good. So I'm like, I don't want to be in that situation during the heat of COVID. Mm-hmm. So I just waited. And then it got to the point where now I'm just like, I got to just do it. Because it's easy to like say, okay, I'll get to it and reschedule it for another time, because it's a colonoscopy. I finally did. The first thought is that I had to ask you, it's like thinking about the doctor.
Right.
Who wakes up and says, I want to be looking up people's asses every day? Is that really this guy's passion?
I think you have to have a little bit of a personality for that.
I guess so.
You do.
I mean, because here's the thing I was thinking about.
Right.
Now, I'm not trying to sound like I think I'm some prize. I feel like when it comes time to look at my ass, he's probably like, oh, okay, I can deal with what I'm looking at here. Right? Whereas he must see some pretty awful sights.
Yeah,
and smell some pretty awful sights when he gets to work.
I'm sure. You know, going back to your question, I think it must be the type of thing when somebody goes into medical school and they're learning about all the different kinds of medicine.
Yeah.
Maybe when they get there, they're like, oh, this seems very interesting to me. And maybe there's not a lot of doctors that do it well, and maybe I can build up a big practice, and I don't know.
Yeah, it's an interesting occupation. Much respect for it.
Yeah.
So, all right, you've never had a colonoscopy, right?
No, and I'm going to have one probably within the next several months. I'll go ahead and do that. But like you and I had talked, like my doctor kept saying to me, because I asked him about it, he's like, you can get it done, but you don't have family history and you don't have this and that. And like, you can wait till you're 50 if you want. I was like, all right, but the guidelines changed to 45. So I don't know. I probably should get it.
Yeah, might as well.
Yeah.
So, well, then I'll give you the process. And let me ask you, from any stories you've heard from people about colonoscopies, what would you say stands out to you as far as maybe being like something that you're not looking forward to.
It's
sounds
the
awful.
prep. The
Right.
prep. That's
the prep.
that's always what I hear is the prep.
Yeah.
Like you have to drink the stuff, and it makes you go to the bathroom, and
Right.
constant go to the bathroom,
Right.
And you can't really eat anything that day.
Yeah. Now, I would personally say that it's the no eating thing that's the worst part for me.
Yom Kippur fast.
It felt like good old Yom Kippur.
Yeah, and you can't do anything.
Yeah, the only thing is you are allowed liquids. Basically, more or less, the rule of thumb is things you can see through. Although they do tell you can drink coffee.
Oh, really?
Yeah, which I'm like, why is that?
Can you have a little milk?
No dairy substitutes.
Oh, it's just black coffee.
Yes.
Well, at least you could have that to wake up in the morning.
Yes.
Yeah.
Beginning my fast, I might have still used a little creamer.
Sure, why not?
Yeah.
It's the beginning.
I'm like, it's the very beginning. I know I'm going to be shitting my brains out later.
Right.
There's no way it's going to affect anything.
Right.
So I did do that.
What as far as like any nourishment can you have?
You can have broth.
Chicken broth.
Chicken broth.
I don't understand why you can have chicken broth, but you can't have like a dairy. Like,
And it must be something either about the thickness or the color.
oh, right.
It might be the white might cause.
Because there's stuff in chicken broth that would go into your fecal matter.
Yes. Yeah. Thank you for being more mature.
Yeah, it's taking it to the next notch.
Yeah, I see. So I don't know. I think it just has to do with the coloring of the milk or something like that, and coating, and you could have Italian ice, by the way. No red or blue.
Just a lemon.
It has to be, yeah.
When did you start taking the liquid that makes you go to the bathroom?
Okay.
And how long did it take to kick in?
So the fast had to start first thing the morning before the colonoscopy.
Right. Okay.
I was scheduled for a colonoscopy at 10 a.m.
Okay.
Okay. So basically, when I woke up the day before, couldn't eat solids.
Right.
So I was surprised when I got my liquids to drink. All I had to do was drink once in the evening and once the next morning, right before, a couple hours before my colonoscopy.
Oh, really?
And they were, I want to say, 5-ounce drinks.
That's weird because I've heard like people say like the day before they're taking it and like
Yeah, like they
going all day.
like they have to drink massive amounts.
Yeah, like maybe they've changed it up.
They
or
must
something.
have changed it up. I had called my doctor a couple days before because I was anticipating all this liquid and all the fucking horror stories that you hear from people.
Like you'd be up all night crapping.
Yeah, so I was calling him because I had heard he had told Amy that they now have pills instead of the liquid.
Oh.
And I'm thinking, so I called him. I'm like, can I get the pills? He's like, listen, yes, if you want me to prescribe the pills, I can. I can tell you that your insurance might have some issues with it and you might have to pay a little bit if you're okay with that. And he said, and it's not that bad to do the liquid.
Yeah.
And then he explained that procedure twice.
Did it taste okay, or was it like...
So I got it, and it has in the very like little corner of the box, it says cranberry flavor.
Oh, wonderful.
And I'm thinking, I guess they're not in the market to like promote the flavors. It's not like you get like a juice or it's like with real cranberry.
Right,
You know, it's not like that at all.
Right.
It's just like in this little corner, cranberry flavor.
Right.
And I will say it didn't taste that bad. It didn't taste good.
Right.
It was very sweet and it did have that cranberry taste to it.
Or you just kind of like
I was
shoot
just
it
taking
down?
like, I couldn't do shots. I would just try to take as big of a sip as I could.
Right.
It still wasn't delicious, so it was a little hard getting down.
Mm-hmm.
And then it said in the instructions, you'll start to have diarrhea within an hour.
Okay.
And half hour, it was like, I got a feeling, except you don't ever get those pains that you get.
All right, so you don't get the pain.
Right. Like
It's
when
just
you and I
gotta go.
Right. And classic Mark and Lowell listeners will know, you and I had this thing when we were growing up. We used to explain to each other how bad the pain was when we were experiencing
The meter.
diarrhea. Oh, it was the meter.
The meter.
Right. And we would have levels and we would do it with our arms. We would kind of show how much the meter was pegging.
And you're like, my meter is pegged.
Yes. Your arms
Full
would go
on.
all the way
I need
over.
a bathroom immediately.
Yes.
Yeah.
And you never get those pains.
That's good.
So
at
you
least.
can't really do a meter gauge for that. Yeah.
Right.
So I got to tell you, it wasn't that bad.
Right.
It's like you're peeing out of your ass.
Right, sure. But do you have to drink a lot of water then? Do they tell you to stay hydrated, drink a lot of water?
You have to drink over the course of the next 2 or 3 hours. I think it's like 5 8-ounce glasses of water.
Okay, so they make sure that you're hydrated.
yeah.
So what time did you drink it?
I think I was supposed to drink it at like 5 p.m.
And then how long were you going to the bathroom?
Couple hours and only like maybe 3 times. But I have to say, each time there would be a few rounds.
Right.
So I went 3 times, but there were
So when did you
rounds.
get into that zone where you felt like safe?
Each time I was done, I would feel safe.
Right.
And then what it was, here's what I noticed. Because I almost had an accident.
Sure.
Because
I would expect that.
I couldn't fart with confidence.
No, absolutely not.
And I was one time almost too confident. It was one of those things where it's like, oh my God.
Yes.
You're like, did I? And you're like, okay, I didn't. I didn't.
Right.
But man, did it seem like I did.
Right.
So I knew never to do that again.
Right.
And then, yeah, like I said, 3 or so times you would do your thing. And then that was it. And then I kept going to Amy because Amy's had some stomach issues that she's gotten through. And so she's been through this a couple of times.
Right.
And so I kept asking her, I'm like, should I be worried? Because the one thing I didn't want to have happen is like the next day I hadn't released what I needed to release. And then they're like, oh, sorry, we got to do this again.
Right.
Right. So I was really worried about that. And then, so I did my first round, kind of worried, went to bed. And when you go to bed, they make you take 2 laxatives.
While you go to bed?
When you go to bed, it says at bedtime, take 2 laxatives.
Oh, no. So what?
So I'm like, oh, God. So now I'm going to be up all night.
And again, being above brow, is it a stool softener
yes,
or a laxative?
It said a stool softener on the box. So,
okay, yeah, because that's actually different.
You're right. You're
okay,
right.
Yeah. All right.
But still, I'm a little worried. I'm like, am I going to be up all night? I was hoping I'd at least get a decent night's sleep.
Right.
I got up like twice, and once was just to pee. And I would just figured, since I'm peeing, let me try. It was like nothing that crazy.
Right.
So I'm like, all right. So I'm like got a little anxiety about the situation. But I do also know that morning it says get up at 5 a.m. and drink another round of that thing. So I did that, went through the same kind of scenario, maybe had a few more rounds in the bathroom, and then that was it.
So when in the morning, it was probably just like all water, right? So
it's a weird feeling.
Right. And then by the time you have to go to the place, you feel confident.
I felt fine. Like I wasn't worried about being in the car or anything like that.
Right.
Like I was fine.
Right.
So I went there. I had to be there at 9:00, there at 9, and I had no idea what to expect.
Right.
Right. So you walk in and it's like a big doctor's lobby. In a doctor's office.
And they have to do like anesthesia, right?
Yeah,
like
there's a
bit?
whole thing.
Yeah.
So I'm in this lobby. I really just have no idea what to expect. They call me back. They open this door, and it is the most awkward, uncomfortable scenario because I walk in. It feels like a meat locker.
Right.
Like rows of beds with sheets, like in an ER or something, where you have your room based on just these sheets wrapped around this little area. And there's just like rows of people.
So it's like they go one by one. It's like a factory.
It's like a factory, and it just feels so. I don't know. I felt like I needed a little more intimacy,
right?
Something.
So basically, they do the colonoscopy in each room.
Well,
right?
so that's what I was wondering, because then they bring me in the room and then ask me a few questions, and then it's okay. I'm going to leave. I need you to get completely naked. Mm-hmm. And I'm just like, really? I got to get completely naked?
Yeah, completely.
They even said, take off your socks, and then they give me like a random packaged pair of socks. They're like, but you can wear these if you want. And
maybe everything's like sterile or whatever.
It must be what it is.
Well, you put on a gown, right?
And then you have to put on like a gown, and they're like, and leave it open because we're gonna need to get to you anyway. And so I'm like, all right. And I just lay in bed. I ended up waiting a long ass time. I felt like I got there. I was in the room by 9:15, and I don't think I had the procedure until close to 10:30.
Right.
And here's the great part is the nurse comes and gets me 10 minutes before it's time. And she just comes to check on me.
Right.
Everything good? Yeah, everything's fine. I was definitely feeling nervous.
Sure.
And then she walks away, and then I'm starting to think and just kind of like doing a scan of myself mentally and physically. I'm like, I really could pee. But now I got the IV.
Oh, right.
And I'm like, I don't want to deal with that. And then I'm thinking, and then I got the gown, and
yeah, you're all ready to go.
I'm all ready to go, and I got the gown, and I'm like, how am I going to tie it up? And I'm going to be walking through with my ass hanging out.
Can you get a bedpan?
Well, I was wondering if that was going to be. They'll be like, oh, we'll be right back, and bring me a bedpan or something. Right. So I decided at some point, man, maybe I should do this. I should do it because I don't want to when I get the anesthesia, I don't want to just release all over the table, you know. So I called them, and it's just like they come and get me, and I have to wheel the IV with me, and they did help tie me up.
All right.
But I still feel like a jackass just going in there. And
you're that guy.
I'm that guy. Because I even asked her, and she's like, oh, really? Because like, you're next. I'm like, I know, but I got to go.
We'll have to bump you back to 115.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Then I would have just held it. So now that's when you said to me, oh, so then they just do it in there. That's at one point, I'm just like, maybe that's what they do. They just do it in our little cubicle type areas. But no, they actually wheel you into
an room.
OR type room.
Right.
And that's a weird thing because I haven't really gone through anything like that, like any kind of real surgery like that.
Sure.
So just that process of getting wheeled into this other room, it's a little uneasy.
Yeah, sure.
Right. So they take me in. He says, okay, lay down, lay on your side, asks to him. And then the anesthesiologist comes in and she's like, okay, here we go. Mm-hmm. And it's like a twilight, they call it, anesthetic.
Like you're out, but you're not really out.
I guess, although I definitely think I was sleeping. I don't know.
For sure.
So she puts it in. And that's the other thing. Everybody has told me, well, the one thing you're going to love is how you feel with the drugs. It's like a 10-second.
It is. You're like, they tell you to count down to 10, and then it's like, bonk.
Yeah.
You're like,
you
don't even make it to 9.
So she injects me with the stuff. Who knows my concept of time, but it felt like the first 10 seconds, I'm kind of like, I'm not feeling anything.
Right.
And now I'm getting a little worried.
Right. And
I'm
then
like,
you're
oh
like,
shit, what if I'm going to like end up waking up because it's not working?
Right.
And then 13 seconds in, she's like, how you feeling? And I just started feeling just this little wah, 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 wah kind of feeling.
And then you're
and I'm like, yeah, I think I'm just now starting to feel it. And she's like, okay. And then I don't remember anything after that.
Right.
And just out. I just must have went right out. And then it literally feels like a moment, your eyes open, and you're back where you started in that little sheet cubicle.
How long did the procedure
take?
They
said it takes like 20 or so minutes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So all is well overall with the results.
Yeah.
I have diverticulosis.
What do you do for that?
I need to eat a more fibrous diet.
Oh, more fiber.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, more fiber. So, and I'll find out more, I guess, when I see my doctor.
A fiber supplement, I guess, too, right?
Yeah, I probably could do something like that, too.
Metamucil.
Yeah.
Here we are.
This is what I was going to also talk to you about. So that's basically my story. All
right. Well, good. I'm glad everything came out okay.
Yes, it did. Overall, it did.
Yeah.
And maybe some hemorrhoid issues.
Oh, see?
Yeah.
You're pushing too hard.
I guess so. I mean, I don't feel like I pushed too hard, but I don't know what it is. So.
All right. Well, at least you know what to correct now.
Yeah.
Wait, let me pee and then we'll
All right, you go wrap up. This is our pee break, everybody.
We're live in, forget where we are. Where are we? White Marsh, Lowell Melser, WBAL, TV 11 News.
Ocean City, wind sustained. Ocean City, wind sustained. Ocean City, wind sustained. Ocean City, wind sustained.
Excuse me. Double me.
Hey, good evening, guys. This is almost like a Dateline story. Police tell us that it was actually surveillance video that cracked this case wide open.
Crapped this case wide open. Forget where we are. Where are we? White Marsh, Lowell Melser, WBAL, TV 11 News. That's funny.
My soundboard, the one that I used on the iPad, it no longer works with the latest iOS updates.
Oh, that's crap.
So I can't, I have all the files, all the sounds like on my computer, but now I have to figure out a new way. And I have it built in.
That company didn't upgrade?
They didn't upgrade. I have a feeling they probably went out of business or something like that.
Is there another one that
there are plenty of others, but my board has a whole thing in here. I just got to get used to.
Ocean City, wind sustained.
I have to get used to that.
Resistance is futile. It's the Marc and Lowell Show.
So, Mark, I'm glad everything came out okay. That's
yes. I get that. I get jokes.
Highbrow. So, you and I were talking and you went under anesthesia. You said it was like a twilight.
Yes.
My question for our listeners would be, first of all, have you gone under anesthesia? And if you have, do you have any funny stories of when you woke up from that anesthesia?
Yes.
And then on the other side of that, if you haven't had anesthesia, are you afraid of it? What are your concerns or fears about going under anesthesia? Because I know for the very first time I did it, I was very nervous about it, but sometimes you just have to do it.
I have a friend who told me she had a colonoscopy, and while she was, I guess, going under the anesthetics, I think this was before she went under or as she was coming out of it. Either way, she told me she was hitting on her doctor.
Oh,
yeah, like telling him he was hot and all that.
I think you just like lose all control, right? Yeah.
Luckily, I don't think I had. Well, as I shared, I don't think I had anything like that. So if you have a story that you would love to share while you were under the influence of an anesthetic, please share that with us here on our social media, Facebook and Instagram. We would love to hear it.
Yep.
With that, we will see you next time on The Marc and Lowell Show.
Bye-bye.
By the way, a real quick side note, the side effect I got from, the doctor said from the anesthesia was I had the hiccups.
Oh.
Apparently, I got the hiccups right after I fell asleep.
Oh, no.
And so he said it made the procedure a little tricky. While he's in there, I'm constantly hiccuping and jumping while he's in there. So he said because of that, it was a little harder for him to get a good read on everything. So now I would have had to come back 10 years from now. I have to come back 5 years from now.
Gotcha.
Just to be safe.
Did they check anything with your prostate or anything like that when you're in there?
I think so. I think they do that while they're in there.
Because, that's a thing we got to...
I know. I had the finger up there.
Oh, you did? See,
yeah, my doctor has done that. And then last year, my checkup, he's like, get a colonoscopy soon. And I was like, okay. And he's like, and since you're going to do that, I'm not going to do the finger thing.
Right. Because I guess they can see in there.
Yeah. So I think they check on everything at that point.
The finger thing.
Yeah. The finger thing.
Yeah.
Hold it. Is that what you're having for breakfast?
Sure. Haven't you heard? Fiber is really good for you.
Well, there's fiber, and then there's high fiber. Try this.
Colon blow. Sounds delicious. But is it really higher in fiber than my oat bran cereal?
Take a guess. How many bowls of your oat bran cereal would it take to equal the fiber content of one bowl of Colon Blow?
2.
Guess again.
3.
A little higher.
4.
Keep trying.
5.
No, you'll have to do better than that.
7.
Guess again.
8.
We'll give you one more guess.
9.
Not even close. It would take over 30,000 bowls. To eat that much oat bran, you'd have to eat 10 bowls a day every day for 8.5 years.
Wow! I think I get the picture! Colon Blow must be the highest fiber cereal on the market!
Not anymore. Now that there's new Super Colon Blow.
Super Colon Blow?
It would take over 2.5 million bowls of your oat bran cereal to equal the fiber content of one bowl of Super Colon Blow.
I'm convinced.
Colon Blow and you in the morning.
Colon Blow and new Super Colon Blow.
Warning, may cause abdominal distension. Consult a physician.